Shabbat Shalom. This summer, Eisner, Crane Lake, and other Union for Reform Judaism summer camps opened with a great deal of extra precautions and health measures. One of the most important, camp would be a closed bubble. No nighttime trips into town, no day-off drives back home for laundry, no trip day. For me, preparing for 4 weeks of a fully immersed camp bubble took a fair bit of planning, including purchasing one of the most beautiful jigsaw puzzles I had ever seen. Some of you have heard me talk previously about the jigsaw puzzles that are part of my evenings as faculty at the URJ Eisner camp, and you may remember that I can be a bit obsessive about jigsaw puzzles. This particular 1,500-piece puzzle was a picture of painted rocks with dots in beautiful colors. I knew it would not be easy, but I also knew that there would be other faculty and staff who enjoy puzzles as much as I do. So, at 8 p.m., when the kids were mostly in evening programs and off to bed, when we were done with our camp jobs of teaching, leading tefillah, and more for the day, we would work piece by piece until we had created something beautiful. It wasn't as though there was going to be much else to do, since we weren't running into town for ice cream. When we opened this particular puzzle and started the work of sorting colors and finding the edge pieces, I realized that this puzzle was going to be even harder than I thought. Not because of the size of the pieces or the repetition of colors, but because of the damaged pieces that we found. There were multiple pieces with part of the picture coming off the underlying cardboard, a few that were pushed or twisted, and one particular piece that was so twisted that as I lifted it out of the box, it broke in half. A broken puzzle piece, and we hadn't even started. I wondered if it was worth continuing, since we would always know that this was imperfect, even after it was finished. How would this puzzle ever be the complete work of art that I had imagined if it had a broken piece? Initially, I was annoyed. Every time I sat down at the puzzle table, the broken puzzle piece glared at me, irking me, reminding me that this puzzle would never be as beautiful as I had imagined. But finally, one night, we found the spot for the broken piece. And by the next morning, I couldn't even tell where the broken piece was in the sea of red and blue dots. I realized as I looked down at the semi-finished puzzle that I didn't know which pieces had been damaged and which began fully whole. They all blended together into beautiful colors and design, held with interlocking support that made it hard to know where one piece started and another stopped. The puzzle slowly came to fruition, and it was no longer 1,500 separate pieces, but one striking image. It wasn't just the puzzle that was hiding fractured and fragmented pieces, though. It was happening all around me at camp. Walking around the spacious green grounds of Eisner, I noticed camp carrying on with arts, sports, swimming, friendship bracelets, and more. But underneath it all was the hint of a twisted, mangled puzzle piece. There were masks hanging off of kids' arms or laying on the ground, abandoned. Some kids struggled with jokes their friends had always made before. Others were uncomfortable sitting too close to one another or being touched with a gesture of kindness and caring. When we asked kids to write about miracles, gratitude, journeys, and perspective for Shabbat services, All their words came back to their experiences during the pandemic and how much it meant for them to be back at camp. The more time I spent with the campers, the more I reflected on the social, emotional gaps and struggles of our children created by the pandemic world that they have lived in since March 2020. Before leaving for camp, I had the fortune to learn from Dr. Betsy Stone, a retired psychologist who received her doctorate from Yale and serves as an adjunct professor for Hebrew Union College. Dr. Stone told us, those of us on the Zoom session that day, to remember that the pandemic has left us all in a state of trauma, and trauma never leaves us. This pandemic isn't even over yet. The trauma is not yet finished. We are desperate to go back to the way things were, but we don't even know what next week will bring. We want to rip our masks off our faces, but there are still variants and new science landing at our feet. Even while we try to come to terms with our trauma and move past it, we are still living through it. Look around you. Everywhere we look, we see people who are trying to move on from something that is not yet finished. We keep going because we don't know what else to do. We keep going because we are afraid of stopping to assess the damage, because it might be more than we can afford. We're very good at avoiding our trauma, hiding our mutilated pieces. Campers and staff walked around camp without masks. With limited access to news and social media, they forgot at times that there was even a pandemic happening at all. Many of us go to work each day ignoring the unsettling feelings of anxiety, scarcity, and fear. Even Simone Biles started the women's gymnastics team competition seemingly fine. But as we all know now, while she was physically in top shape at the start of the Olympic Games, under all those gymnastic muscles and powerhouse moves, she too was hiding her trauma. As Simone Biles learned, there is a power that comes from owning and admitting our damages. We're full of mangled puzzle pieces, ones that we are desperately trying to pretend are perfect. But the trauma of the pandemic has left a mark on all of us. As I watched those around me at camp struggle with what has been broken inside of them, I came to realize and own my trauma, my own brokenness. I know I am still broken because I still cry every time I either witnessed or am part of people singing and praying together. I know I am still broken because every time someone sneezes or coughs near me, I get anxious. I know I am still broken because my patience runs too thin and my anger sometimes too high. I know I am still broken because I still find myself isolated, even from the people I talk to all the time, the village that has supported me throughout my entire life. But what are we supposed to do with this brokenness? How do we manage the injuries we incur? We want to be complete, but that means working with pieces that are imperfect parts to a perfectly laser-cut puzzle. The answer came to me at a Shabbat morning service at camp. Just hours before we would put the last piece in the masterpiece puzzle, I heard hundreds of campers and counselors in the outdoor sanctuary sing the words of Dan Nichols' Asher Yatzar interpretation. I thank you for my life, body and soul. Help me realize I am beautiful and whole. I am perfect the way I am, and a little broken too. I will give each day as a gift I give to you. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofeh kol basar umafli lasot. Despite our desire to cover up the broken and damaged pieces inside of us, they never go away. And we shouldn't try to bury them or forget them. We should embrace them. Trauma never leaves us. We can't ignore it. We hopefully process it and then package it up for a time, but despite our best packing skills, the trauma will sneak out of its duffel bag at some point. And we will be reminded again of that part of our past, that time when we were left broken and damaged. And once again, we will have to revisit it, to process it, and repackage it inside of ourselves. So why deny it? Simone Biles showed us what it means to be the goat when she stopped trying to be perfect. Campers and staff built stronger bonds as they shared their stories. My puzzle was even more spectacular and beautiful when I worked with the broken piece instead of trying to cover it up. We aren't meant to be perfect. God never wanted that for us. We are meant to constantly work and better ourselves. Yes, we have a Yetzer HaTov, an inclination to do good, but we also have a Yetzer Hara, an inclination to do evil. In this week's Torah portion, God lays before us both a blessing and a curse. We aren't meant to be perfect. At times, we will be broken. At times, we will make the wrong choice. At times, we will feel the curse and not the blessing. This leaves us with the opportunity to work on our own beauty and imperfections and enhance them both. That mangled puzzle piece, it still fit in our puzzle and was an essential part of the puzzle's completion. We found its place and we helped it to be whole again. We can do that work on ourselves. On Monday, we will begin the Hebrew month of Elul. During this month, Jews prepare for the days of awe, for the holiest days, by looking inward and examining ourselves. We reflect on who we are, on where we have been and where we want to go, giving ourselves a chance to be vulnerable and to grow. At Stephen Wise, it is our custom to do this through the study of Musar, the traditional practice of mindfulness and self-improvement, also known here as the Jewish Values Project. This Elul, I invite you to join with me and the other clergy and educators of our community as we examine various midot and struggle with what makes us imperfect. Maybe through this exploration, we can uncover our broken pieces and embrace them as part of what makes us whole and holy. Keni Hiratzon, be this God's will.